think we're live. Ready? Shalom Israel, we are the Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We teach that the so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians, that we are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. Today is our Sabbath service, and we're going to conduct our Sabbath service according to the law. Right? At this time we say Madium, La Panya Padam, the rise.
La Yashrala to Israel.
When you are done, still not face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew.
Abanawa, Shabashemaya, Kwadash, Aya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwafka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Aya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashemaya, Natanda Nawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kawawat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kawawat Nawa, Wala'a, Tabayana. Wanasayawan, Abal, Awashinawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwat, Wahala, Wataparat, Waiwalamiam, Aman.
We just said it's our Father, which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Yahweh. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us. Our debts. As we forgive. Our debtors. And lead us not. Into temptation. But deliver us. From evil. Thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever.
So be it. When city hakak for the power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Bawakasha, Letana Nawa, Hakak, Larapa, Kalmakala, Wakal Madawa, Hakak, Lata, Atamazarium, Hakak, Lahakwayam, Hamatayam, Hakak, Irakawak, Atamayala, Lagarasham, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tawadaman.
We just said in English is Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power. Power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. Power to cleanse the lepers. Power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. We cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you.
So be it. Want to see bless Israel. Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barak Lanawa, Vayashala, Wabayat, Saparium, Barak, Rapa, Magan, Hagan, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tawada Aman.
Lord, Yahushai, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushai.
Thank you. So be it. This is Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Ashaya, Ayana, Ayanya, Al Harayam, Matian, Matayan,
Mahayan. Mahayan.
Yabia,
Yabia.
Isaiah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah, Maayam,
Maayam.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Aisha, Shamayam,
Shamayam.
Wa Arataza,
Arataza.
Alyatan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Yanawam, Shamaka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Salakia, Shawama, Yashala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyad, Yamyanka, Yamawam, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makalrai, Yashamar, Napashka, Yahweh, Yashamar Tazahafka, Baba Waka, Mayata, Wahid Aiwalam.
We just said in English, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer. Thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee. Will not slumber. Behold. He that keepeth Israel. Shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is the shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. Even forevermore.
We'll see Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayam. Al-Damayalaka. Al-Takarash. Wal Tashakwat. Al-Kayahana. Wayab Yaka. Yahawama Yawan. Rash. Al Maka. Yaramawa. Sadawa. Wa Amata. Yatazawa. Al Tazapawan Yaka. Amar Lakawa. Wanaka Yadiam.
Kayadam.
Magawya. Wala'a Yazaka. Sham Yashala. Aiwada. Kaya. Tazawa. Laba. Yakarwa. Yaka,
Ayaka,
Bariak,
Baya,
Yakaratawa,
Yakarathwa,
Ahalia,
Ahalia,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wa Yashamai,
Wayashamai,
Allah,
Allah,
Alayam,
Alayam,
Mawaaba,
Mawaaba,
Wa Hagariam,
Wahagarayam,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Waimawan,
Waaimawan,
Malak,
Waaimalak,
La Palashat,
Malashab,
Labanya Lawak,
Ay Labanya Lawab,
Salah,
Salah,
Aisha Laham,
Aisha Laham,
Kamadian,
Gamadian,
Kasaya Sarah,
Kasayasara,
Kayabian,
Kayabian,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Kwayash,
Kwayash,
Kwayashwan,
Kwayashwan,
Nashamarwa,
Nashamarwa,
Bay Yan Da'ara,
Bayan da Arab,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
Daman,
the man,
La'a Dama,
the Adama,
Shayatama,
Yatamawa,
Shayatamawa, Nada
Nada,
Yab,
Mawa,
Yabmawa,
Nada Yamawa,
Kairab,
Kairab,
Wakazaaba,
Wakazaba,
Wakazaabak,
Wakazaba,
Wakatazal Manai,
Wakatazal Manai,
Waka Nasa Yak Amwa,
Ka Nasayak Kamawa,
Aisha
Asha,
Hamawa,
Amawa,
Na Yarasha,
Nayarasha,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
At
Atha,
Ata,
so like Ath,
At Na Atwat, Awat,
Athwa,
Al Lahayam,
Alahaya,
Alahaya, Sha Yamtawa,
Shamyasawa,
Kagalga,
Galgala,
Kagalga, Kakwash,
Takwash,
Lapania
Rawaka,
Rawaka, Kash,
Kaash,
Abai Yaira,
Tabai Ira, Yaira,
Wakalahaba,
Wakalahaba,
Lahat,
Talahab,
Harayam,
Arayam,
Kan,
Khan,
Paradakma, Ba Sairaka,
Basaraika,
Basa,
Wabasa,
Wapatka,
Wapaska,
Taba Alam,
Tabahalam,
Malak,
Malak,
Mala'a, Slakia, Yaham,
Panyaham,
Kwalawan,
Walawan,
Wayaba Kwashawa,
Bakwashwa, Wayabakwashwa,
Wayaba Kwashwa, Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Wabashawa,
Yabashawa,
Wayabahawa,
Waya Bahalawa,
Bahalwa, Yaid, Waya Kapawa,
Kaparawa,
Waya Abadwa.
Waya Abadwa.
Waya Daiwa.
Waya Daiwa.
Kaya Ata.
Kaya Ata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
Ayawan.
Ayawan.
Alkaha Arataza.
Alkaha Arataza. In the English, we said, keep not thou silent, O God.
Keep not thou silent, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still.
And be not still.
O God.
O God.
For lo,
Thy
enemies, make it a mud. And they that hate thee, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Against thy people. And consulted. Against thy hidden ones. They have said. Come let us. Cut them off from being a nation. That the name of Israel. May be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted. Together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites. Of Moab. And the Hagarim. Gebal. And Ammon. And Amalek. And the Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher is also joined with them. They have hold upon the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midian.
And as to the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to the Jabin. At the brook of Kison. Which perish at Endor. They have become as dung. For the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb. And like Zebi. Yea. All their princes. As Zabah. And as Zaluna. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God. Make them like a wheel. And as the stubble before the wind. As the fire burneth a wood. And as the flames set the mountains on fire. So persecute them. With thy tempest. And make them afraid. With thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Lord. Let them be confounded. And troubled forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame. And perish. Whose name alone is Yahweh. At the Most High. Over all the earth. I'm going to say is Isupk curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. And all things living. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Listen to us now. Right now. Send evils and curses. And punishment and destruction. To the heathen. That speak against us. Thy prophets. The priests. The prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, to the heathen, and shake loose, the treasures of the rich of Israel, that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, enter into thy sanctuary, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, to the Edomites, and the nation, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, Skinheads, Posikomotazi, the gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airwaves, the cable access channel, the radio channel, convict the spirit of any of thy people, that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Through the earth. And consume them. Let the plague. Shake the house of the thief. And the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai. Michael. And Gabriel. Come down with the flying saucers. And punish all the heathen. That come up against us. And speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all. It is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media. Throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you always. So be it. Sir. Today we continue the reading. We will continue from Genesis chapter 23. Alright, and we start back at verse 10. Yeah. The book of Genesis, chapter 23 and verse 10 in the Hebrew. Wa'ai parawan. Yashal, Bathawaka, Banaya, Katha, Waya Aina, Ipara 1, Hakathaya, Atta, Abraham, Ba'azanaya, Banaya, Kata, Lakal, Banaya, Wa'ira, Ayarawa, La'ama, verse 11, La'a, Adanaya, Shama'ainaya, Hashada, Nata Taya, Laka, Wahamanai, Waha Ma'aira, Asher, Bawa, Kal, Nata Tanaya, La'aya Naya, Banaya, Aimaya, Nata Taya, Kal, Kwaba, Mataka, Wayasha Fakawa, Abraham, Lapanaya, Aima, Ha'arataza, verse 13, Wayadaba, Allah, Iparawan, Ba'aizanaya, Aima, Ha'arataza, La'ama, Kaya, Amma, Atha, Lawa, Shamainaya, Natataya, Kaya Salakya, Kasak, Hashada, Kwaka, Mamanaya, Wa'akwa, Bara, Ata, Mataya,
Shamaha, verse 14. Waya Aina, Iparawan, Atta, Abraham, La'ama, Lawa, verse 15. Adanaya, Shamainaya, Arataza, Arabai, Ma'ata, Shakwal, Kasap, Bayanaya, Wabayanaka, Ma'a, Hawa'a, Wa'ata, Mataika, Kwaba, verse 16. Waya Shamai, Abraham, Allah, Iparawan, Waya Shakwal, Abraham, La Iparana, Akasap, Asher, Deba, Ba'izanaya, select it. Ba'azanaya, Banaya, Katha, Arabai, Ma'awath, Shakwal, Kasap, Ba'ai, select it. Iba, Lasaka. Right, I think that's verse 7, from 10 to 16.
Come on. The book of Genesis, chapter 10, chapter 23, verse 10. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went at the gate of his city, saying, verse 11, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the son of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead. Verse 12. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. Verse 13. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. Verse 14. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, verse 15, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. Verse 16. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. That is verse 16.
All right, so we're seeing here, after the death of Sarai, after her death, Abraham was looking for a place. At that time, we were more of a nomadic people. We didn't have any set particular place, except where we were staying at different times. And where he was at by these Africans, he went to one of these African kings and basically asked him to buy a spot or buy a plot or to buy a cemetery so that he would be able to bury his wife. And it was something that it was significant because he really loved his wife. and he really wanted to give us something special. As you can see from the distance he went to get it, and he didn't care about what price it was. He would pay whatever price it was, and that as well would show that he wasn't poor, right? So he was willing to pay whatever it took to get this piece of property, to be able to have this burial place, not just for his wife, but for all those of his people at that time. But specifically at that time, it was for his wife, so that he can bury his wife. You understand? And that is what, really going through. And what sometimes also significant is that, he didn't want anything free from these Africans, because he understood how these heathens think. Can I drop the a little bit? Yeah, he understood how these heathens think. So with that, he definitely wanted to purchase it. Right? So nothing will be hanging. Sometimes say a gift destroy the heart. He didn't want that, and he understood those principles. So he wanted nothing free. So he paid whatever money he had to pay, and it was his. No questions asked. Alright? So we'll continue. The book of Genesis, chapter 23 and verse 17. Wayakwam, Shadaha, Aiparwawan, Ashar, Amakapal, Ashar, Lapania, Mamara, Ashada, Wahamaira, Ashar, Bawa, Wakal, Ha'aitaza, Ashar, Bashad, Ashar, Bakal, Gabalwa, Sabayaba, verse 18. La Abraham, La Makwan, La Ayya Naya, Banaya, Katha, Bakal, Ba'aya, Sha'ira, Irawa, verse 19. Wa'akaria, Khan, Kwaba, Abraham, Atta, Shara, Ashathwa, Al, Ma'irach, Shada, Amakar, Pal, Salabia, Shamaka, Palaha, Al, Panaya, Mama'ar, Mama'ar, Mara, Hawa'a, Kabarwa, Ba'arataza, Kana'aina, verse 20. Wayakwam, Hashadaha, Wahama Ira, Ashar, Bawa, La Abraham, La Akazal, Akaza, Kwaba, Ma'ata, Panaya, Katha. The book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 1. Wa Abraham, Zakwan, Ba'a, Bayamayam, Wa Yahweh, Baraka, Ata, Abraham, Bakal, verse 2. Wayama, Abraham, Al, Ibadawa, Zakwan, Bayafwa, Hamashal, Bakal, Asher, Lawa, Shayam, Na'a, Yadaka, Takatha, Zara, it's like a Yarakaya, Restri, Wa Ashabiyai, Wa Asha, Baya Aika, Ba Yahweh, Alahaya, Wa Shemaya, Wa Alahaya, Ha'arataza, Asha, La'a, Takwaka, Ashaha, Labania, Ma Banawath, Haka na Ainaya, Asha, Anakaya, Yawashab, Bakwabawa. Right? Stop that.
The book of Genesis, chapter 23 and verse 17. And the field of Ephron was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre. The field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure. Verse 18. Unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of the city. Verse 19. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. The book of Genesis chapter 24 and verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. Verse 2. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. Verse 3. And I will make thee swear by the most high power of heaven and the power of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell.
So we're seeing here where Abraham, he got the field and finally able to bury his wife. And when he buried his wife, he basically had that time to mourn and to really be able to mourn her death. And after that, the scripture says he was stricken in age. And that he was an old man now. But even when he had his son, Isaac, he was already, I think, almost 100, I think 99. Right? And by this time, his son is a grown man because he's looking for a wife for his son. Right? So he is 100 plus, and so he is well stricken in age. And even in biblical times, men used to live a good age. And if you say he well stricken, he was up there. Right? And he had a servant who, was over all his goods and seeing about all his stuff. He said, I pray thee, take thy hand under thy thigh. It was a way, you know how black people talk. A lot of people would take this and figure, well, some kind of funny touching happening, but that's not the case. You understand? But it's something cultural. And also how we talk. Say, I pray thee, put thy hand under thy thigh. I will make thee to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites. So he basically made him promise that he will not make his son marry any of these heathens. And you can see even back then, Abraham understood, just like we have the laws that Moses gave later down. This really solidified that we never used to mix with those other heathens.
Right.
And Abraham knew the law of not, mixing with these other nations. All right. So we still see it here even before the so-called Ten Commandments and all these other laws. These were things were practiced from the beginning. You understand? From Adam, come down, and that particular lineage, there were certain rules and laws. It wasn't established like how when Moses was here. That was more like a reintroduction. But in our spirit, we understood. The Most High put that in the spirit of Abraham that these are the rules to be guided by. All right? See, he let him promise that don't take no Africans for his son. All right? And as we go further, we're going to see where he told them to go and why. So we continue in the reading. The book of Genesis, chapter 24, and verse 4. Kaya al arataza wa ala maya ladafia talaka walakwa kaf ashaha labaniya laya tazaka yakwa. Verse 5. Waya amma alayawa ha'aiba bada awalaya la'a ta'abaha ha'asha'a lalakaf akaraya Allah ha'arataza Isaac Kahashab Ashayab Atta Banaka La'a Ha'arataza Our Asha Yataza Atha Mashayam Mashama with 6. Wayama La Alayawa Abraham Hashama Laka Pana Tashayab Ata Banaya Shamaha with 7. Yahweh Alahaya Hashemayim Asha Lakwa Kanaya Mabayath Abaya Wama Arataza Mawalada Fa Mawalada Dathaya wa Ashar Daba Laya wa Ashar Nashabai Laya Laama Izaraika Atan Ata Ha'arataza Isatha Hawa'a Yashalka Mala Malakawa, Lapanyaka, Walakwath, Walakwakath, Asher, Labania, Mashama, verse 8. Wa'ama, La'a, Tabaha, Ha'asha, Lalakatha, Aharayaka, Wa'akwa Yaka, Mashabayasaya, Za'ath, Rakwa, Atta, Banaya, Allah, Salakila'a, Fashab, Shamaha, verse 9. Wayashama, Ha'aibaha, Ha'aibada, Atta, Yadawa, Takatha, Yaraka, Abraham, Adanayawa, Wayashabai, Lawa, Al, Hadaba, Hazaha. Verse 10. Wayakwaka, Ha'aibada, Aishara, Lamalayam, Magamalaya, Adanayawa, Wayalaka, Wakal, Tawab, Badanayawa, Bayadawa, Wayakwam, Wayalaka, La'a, Aram, Naharayam, Allah, Izarah, Nakawara.
The book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 4. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. Verse 5. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure, the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? Verse 6. And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son thither again. Verse 7. And the Lord and the most high power of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thee, unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again. Verse 9. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and sware to him concerning that matter. Verse 10. And the servant took 10 camels of his master and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia unto the city of Nahor.
All right, so we're seeing where Abraham is giving his servant specific instructions and exactly where to go to his kindred, his people. right? So he didn't want to mix with any of the other nations. He wanted to get somebody from his lineage for his son, right? So this is also against more solid proof of not having interracial marriages. Understand, the Most High is against interracial marriages, and these are just one of the key points to show that even before Moses, that this was something that we kept as a people, as the nation of Israel was now, in a primary stage coming up. All right, so we see here again where the Most High has taught Abraham, and he is in turn now going to pass on that same thing down to his son, right? And his servant left and went to Mesopotamia, which was where Abraham's descendants were. All right, and if you look at a map where Mesopotamia is, I think if I'm not mistaken, the whole area called the whole Garden of Eden at that time. So we're seeing where civilization really started, which was there, not in Africa, as some people would like to put it, but really Mesopotamia. Right? There's a particular strip that is extremely fertile in that area. Right? A lot of wars, all the Arabs, all these people are fighting for those areas right now. Understand? Because it's a very fertile and rich area. Right, so
so like if I may, and it's showing the kind of stature and importance and how important Abraham was, right?
That's right.
Because he also had, and I know you bring all this earlier too, as a good reminder to show you how Abraham had servants, right? And this servant was in charge of ensuring that his son continue the heritage of marrying within his race.
That's right.
And his people, right? So even though his son was not ready to take over the heritage from his father,
at that time,
already had people in place to ensure that this was going to take place. Right?
That's right. So
yeah, just like Salakia, just like if like today, all people are lawyers. Right. And you put somebody in charge to make sure the inheritance go to the son. It's something similar to that.
You're protecting your inheritance. I think that term, I'm trying to remember the term that is used by a custodian or
it has
a special name, right? That they use to really right. Like I just to really if somebody is not, or a child is not really fully ready, or sometimes they may be grown, but this person has been around you for so long, they manage all your stuff good, even though you have your young son coming. So like you have a company, you want to have CEOs or managers or a board, exactly, a board of directors. I think that is probably a good example. You have a board of directors, you as the CEO, and you're looking to retire and you have a young son. So these board of directors will guide your son until he reaches up to scratch, up to speed to what everything that you have done and put in place, until you get to understand the vision and the purpose of this company. It's the same thing with Abraham. He wanted his servant to ensure that he got a wife from his forefathers. You understand? From his lineage, from his kindred at that time. Because I believe if his son really at that time fully understood it, he wouldn't have to tell his servant, to make sure. So he was safeguarding his son at that time. All right. Say Majum. Express.
Sha ban ban yan yan ban yashala.
Sha ban ban yan yan ban yashala.
Yahweh Bashem and Shai Brakata.
Yahweh Bashem and Shai Brakata. Okay. Alright, so we're going to continue the reading.
Yeah.
So we continue in the book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 11. Wayabarka Hagam la Hagam Hagam la Yom. Hagamal. Alright, so Gamal is the camel in Hebrew, right? And I'd say Hagamal Layam is camels, alright? Plural, given the plural aspect, right? And I think Wabaraka, if I'm not mistaken, is giving the it said and he made his camels, right? And he made his camels and kneel down. I would say that in English. But Hagamayam, Hagamaal or Gamal is camel, right? Hagamalayam is camels, right? In plural, like Akiyam, right?
Come on.
So we have, I'll start from beginning again. Wayabaraka Hamagalayam Maka Wataza La'ai Zaya La'ai Zaraya Allah Ba'ara Hamayam La'aitha Irab La'aitha Taza'af Hasha'abath. Verse 12. Waya Amma Yahweh Alahaya Adanaya Abraham Hakora Na'a Lapanya Hayawama Wa Aisha Kasad Aima Adanaya Abraham. Verse 13. Anaya second. Hanaha Anakaya Natazab Al Ayan Hamayam Wabanawaf Anashaya Ha'ayara Yatazata La Sha'aba Mama Mayam. Verse 14. Wahaya Ana Ira Asha Amar Alaya Hataya Na'a Kadaka Wa Ashaf Wa Amar Shata Wagam Gamaliaka Ashama, Ashaqua, Ata, Hakakaksa, La Aibada Ka, La Yatazakwa Kakwa, Waba, Ada Kaya, Aishayaf, Kasad, Aima, Adanaya, verse 15. Wayahaya, Hawa'a, Taram, Kalaha, Ladaba, Wahana, Rabakwa, Yataza'ata, Ashar, Yalada, Labawaf Allah, Bana, Malaka, Ashaf, Nakawa, Akaya, Abraham, Wakada, Shakam, verse 16. Wahanaira, Tabath, Mara'a, Ma'ada, Ma'ad, Bathwalha, Waya Asha'a, Wa'a Ya'a, Yasha, La'a, Yada'aiha, Wathrada, Ha'ayana, Wathmala, Kada, Watha'ila, verse 17. Yarataza, Habai, Ibada, Laquara'af, Waya'ama, Hagamaya, Hagamaya, Ayanya, Na'a, Mata, Mayam, Makadaka. Alright, so reading from 11 to 17.
Genesis chapter 24, verse 11. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even to the time that the women go out to draw water. Verse 12. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, and send me to good speed this day. See kindness on my master Abraham. Behold, verse 13, behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. Verse 14, and let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee that I may drink, and she shall drink. She shall say, drink, and I will give thy camel drink also. Let the same be that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and therefore shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. Verse 15. And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Nathanael, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with a pitcher upon her shoulder. Verse 16. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well, and filled her pitcher, and came up. Verse 17. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, Let me, I pray thee, to drink a little water of thy pitcher.
All right. So we see here where the servant of Abraham, went out and he prayed to the God of Abraham. He understood and knew the power of the Most High and the power of the God of Abraham. You understand? He knew his place, and he knew that he prayed to the God of Abraham, that the God of Abraham would listen to him and that he would grant Abraham favor. And like scripture said, just before he could even finish, they saw Rebecca coming. What are you?
Yeah. If I may, sir, I just show how fast he praises answer.
Yeah, son.
Right? And also I like to add in verse 16, right?
Yeah.
It said the damsel was fair to look upon, right? And she was a virgin, and neither any man known her. Yeah. Right? And sometimes we just read it right quick.
That's right.
Right? And that way many people don't understand this, right? That a virgin was a young woman of marriageable age.
That's right.
Right? And it still had to go and specify that, although it said that she was a virgin, it had to go and specify that neither had any man known her. Right? So if being a virgin was a woman who didn't have sex, it would have never had to come and say after that.
That's right.
Neither had any man known her. So it's showing you that a virgin was a young woman of marriageable age, and right, she was not with anybody.
That's right.
Right? So it had to specify the two.
So that just shows you the confusion in Christianity.
Come on.
And really, if you're not in the Isupk, you're not in the truth.
Come on.
You will not have the understanding to get these breakdowns or even see these scriptures, even ask, because your mind is so corrupted with the doctrines of Christianity. It's very difficult. And even looking at myself, when I was not in the truth, and you're in the Christian church, it was almost impossible for you to see unless the Most High, granted some mercy.
Come on.
That we can be able to come into the truth to see, the deception and all the lies and everything else that is in these scriptures. And, we gotta say, Barakataya Hawaii our shy, for Commander General Hannah and all the generals and all the captains.
Come on.
For going the distance to save his people. You understand? And for us to get this knowledge. Yeah, you have anything else going on?
Yeah.
Alright. So we're going to continue the reading. So we have the book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 18. Wata'ama Shata Adanaya Wata'ama Watarada Kada Al Yada Wata Shukwahama Selakia Wakashawa Verse 19. Wathakal lahashakwafwa wata'ama gam lagamia lagam layaka asha'aba aida ama kalawa Lashatata, verse 20. Watama, Wata'ira, Kada, Al, Ashakwath, Watarataza, Iwada, Allah, Aba'ara, Lashaba, Selaki, Lasha'aba, Watasha'aba, Lakala, Gamaliawa, verse 21. Waha Ayasha, Mashatha, Laha, Makariawa, Selakia, Maka Rayasha, Lada Aitha, Ha Tazak, Yahawa, Darakawa, Amma, La'a, verse 22. Wayahaya, Kashar, Kalawa, Hagamia, Hagamalayam, Lashatawa, Wayakwaka, Hayasha, Nazam, Zahaba, Bakwa'ai, Mashakwalawa, Washanaya, Tazamayadayam, Ayal, Yadahaya, Aishara, Zahaba, Mashakwalam, verse 24. It's like verse 23. Waya Amma, Bath, Maya, Atta, Hagayadaya, Na'a, Laya, Hayasha, Baniyaf, Abayaka, Ayabaka, Makwam, Makwawayam, Salakia, Makwawama, Lanawa, Lalayana, verse 24. Wata'ama, Alayawa, Ba, Batawala, Bata'ala, Anakaya, Bana, Salakia Ban, Malakaha, Asha, Yalada, Lanakawa. That's it. 18 to 24.
Genesis chapter 24 and verse 18. And she said, Drink, my lord. And she had hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. Verse 19. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camel also until they have done drinking. Verse 20. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the throat, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. Verse 21. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. Verse 22. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hand of 10 shekels weight of gold. Verse 23. And said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? Verse 24. And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor.
Alright, so we see here where, just as Abraham's servant finished praying, the Most High speedily, answered his prayer. But still he was a bit cautious, in looking at, watching to see, well, if this is really the person, because I guess he was surprised that it happened so quick.
Come on.
Alright? You have anything to add?
Yeah, so like if I may again, and as verse 18 coming in here, right? It say that she hasted to let down her pitcher, right? So she wasn't slow to do it.
That's right.
You understand? Immediately, she was done already. She had that kindness already in her.
That's right.
Understand that as it says, that sisterhood already in her. Understand? And she know, well, she let down a pitcher to give him the water to drink.
That's right.
And then she even goes so far now, right, to go and draw water for the camels to drink. Now, if you look at that today, today that's not happening.
Nah.
Today, somebody telling you, go and fill your own water, yes?
Yes.
You understand where I'm from? And she was going and take water to carry home for whatever needs she had to do.
That's right.
Understand? And this man came on the wayside and she decided to give him the water and to give his camels water to show you that she had that sisterhood and that kindness already in her.
That's right.
Understand? And exactly that way he was looking for.
And so like people want to add as well.
Yeah.
You see in Ramai he had 10 camels.
Can.
And not just, and to have 10 camels, it wouldn't be one man pulling 10 camels.
No.
He would have other servants.
That's right.
Carrying these camels and all the other goods that he had. And that alone shows, the testament of the type of training she had.
Can.
You understand that the training that her father would have given to her. And to respect, men on the whole. Also, she probably would also recognize probably the way how the servants were, the way they dress, etc. Because I'm probably sure she probably might not do that just for anybody. But sometimes when you recognize
your people.
Your people, that's right. You recognize the people, the way they dress. It's like, we go, let's say we go to America, right? And say like, you look like a Trini boy. Just by the way he dressed, the way he moving, you say, right, that is that Trini. So she hasted quick, and she did what she was supposed to do. Understand? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and also when you go down to verse 23, right? It said now, and said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there a room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And this does show you the brotherhood of these early days, right?
Right.
The spirit, the people from this lineage,
that's right,
already had that spirit of brotherhood. Everybody, and all when they come up through the scriptures, and I know we got bounced up and reach all through Judges and things like that.
That's right.
Right? They always had a room just per adventure that somebody would be looking for a place to stay.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So they always had that brotherhood intact.
That was also always part of our culture. I think, if I can remember, when we earlier up in the scriptures, I was I think with Lot. You know, when Lot came, when the angels came into the city, you know, he begged them and said, hey, y'all come.
That's right.
You understand? It's part of our Israelite culture,
Right.
to be brotherly and to be hospitable. When Abraham saw the angels, he said, hey, y'all hurry, come. Tell your wife, kill. Make something for them to eat quick. That spirit is always, and that's something we always have to remember among ourselves, you know, to have that brotherhood. And for sure, brotherhood will always be tested.
That's
you understand? And it will be tested, you know, within every man. Have to be able to understand that, you know, your brotherhood will be tested on a daily basis. Almost everything that you understand, everything that you say, and always try to, you know, regard and put your brother first. You know, so everybody had to be able to go through that process and to get an understanding to be able to do as what the scriptures say.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah, come on, cancel.
So we're going to continue the reading again. Right? Genesis chapter 24 and verse 25. Wayata Amar Alayawa Gam Tabana Gam Masapawa Rabba Aymanawa Gam Makwa Makwawam Lalawana, verse 26. Wayakwada Ha'ayasha Wayashathawa La Yahawa, verse 27. Waya Amma Yahawa Alahaya Adanaya Abraham Ashar La'a Isaba Kasadawa wa Amathawa Ma'aima Adanaya Anayakaya Badaraka Nakayana Naya Yahawa Baya Akaya Adanaya Watarataza Hanaira Watagad Labayath Amma Kadabarayam Ha'alaha, verse 29. Wala Rabafa Aka Washamaya Laban Waya Rataza Laban Allah Ha'ayash Hakawataza Allah Ha'ayan Ha'ayan Wayahaya Verse 30, Wayahaya, Karaf, Atar, Hanazam, Wa'athar, Hatazar, Madayam, Ai, Yadaya, Akathwa, Wakar, Shamayawa, Athar, Dabaria, Rabakwa, Akathwa, La Amar, Kaha, Debara, Aliyah, Ha'ayash, Wayaba, La, Hazayash, Wahana, Aimada, Al, Hagamalia, Al, Ainaya. Verse 31. Verse 31. Waya Amar, Bawa'a, Barawaka, Yahweh, Lamaha, Lama'ida, Bakawa Taza, Wa'a Nakaya, Anayafia, Bayaf, Habayaf, Wamakwawam, La Gamaliam. Yeah, what? 25 to 31.
Genesis chapter 24 and verse 25. She said, moreover unto him, we have both straws and provender, even enough and room to lodge in. Verse 26. And the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord. Verse 27. And he said, blessed be the Lord, God of my master Abraham, who had not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. Verse 28. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother house these things. Verse 29. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. Verse 30. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and the bracelet upon her sister's hand, and when he heard the word of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camel at the well. Verse 31. And he said, Come in, thou art blessed of the Lord. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels.
So now we see anywhere, you see any real brotherhood coming through where, you just hear about this man from what his sister said. You understand? But first of all, you see where the servant gave thanks to the God of Abraham. And it says here as well, You know, and he said, "Blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who had not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. Understand? I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren." So you see, again, you know, after the Rebecca left, he realized that, you know, he really found, you know, what he came to look for. And, you know, he didn't have to go through no sort of headache. You know, the Most High provided, and the Most High allowed Rebecca to come right even before his prayers were answered. And he gave the Most High thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can right, and just to add with what you're saying, right? He said the Lord, this how when she tell him that I have enough provision, right, and she have a room to lodge in, right? Verse 26 say, right, and the man bowed down his head and worshiped the Lord. That's right. Because immediately he know that that was of the Lord, right?
Exactly.
Because he come and say now, when he say, I being the way, the Lord led me to my master's brethren, right? And a lot of people don't miss it, right? Because she was the daughter of Milcah, right? Which bear unto Nahor, right? And when I go back in Genesis 11 and 26, right? That was Abraham family, because Terah, when he had his sons, one of them was named Nahor.
Exactly.
You understand?
He died in the Elise.
No, it was Tehran that died.
Oh,
right?
Tehran, right?
Yeah. Right? That's not right. Slovakia. I'm gonna jump to Genesis 11 26. Right. Understand? Right? And it say and Terah lived 70 years and begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Right? And Haran died before his father. So Haran was the one who died. Right? And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. Right? This is verse 29. Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Right. And then now that was she mother. So he ended up meeting back his family, and that is how he realized, nah, this had to be from the Lord, because he ended up coming back in the same lineage. Yeah. And that was offer just going to the well and asking this woman who he didn't know. First woman that come to the well.
Yeah. That had to be of the Lord.
Come on.
So you're seeing also where, you know, once you ran, you know, once you realize he didn't, you know, who he was, you know, she ran back home and said, you know, look, this guy here, and he was placed to lodge. And I think that was right. I think verse 29 says, and Rebecca had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and a bracelet upon his sister's hands, and when he heard that the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood. So, you know, he really went to see who is this man?
That's right.
You understand?
Come on, cancer.
Yeah, and really, you know, really to also to greet him.
Yeah, and so like if I may add, I like all when I say when he saw the earring and the bracelet, they know the marking at this house, because every house had that signet.
That's right.
So when he see what she have on, he immediately know this is family.
Yeah.
You
understand? And you're right, because as I say, everybody have their own signet, their style, their vibes. So you're going to say, nah, this is from the people.
That's right.
It's like, you know, I say we go into America and you see a man have a Trinity the bone sticker on the vehicle, or you know? Or
just like any ISUPK, you walk around, you see a man with a dawada.
Yeah, you know for sure.
The first thing you go to ask him, UPK?
That's it.
You understand where I'm from? Because they're carrying that signet.
Yeah. You go in Brazil and you see a man with a dawada, you say, nah, hey, are you picking man? You see him have a headband.
Yeah.
You see dress a certain way, boots.
And then when you start in choir, you figure out, well, he's UPK or he's One West. You know what I mean?
And even more so, you know, if any one of us, I'm pretty sure any one of us go to the US and, you know, we happen to bounce our brother, and then he will be more than willing, you know, to to entertain us.
Can.
You know, and same thing down here. If any brother comes down in the Caribbean or comes to Trinidad, we'll be more than willing and more than hospitable to host those brothers, whoever, or sisters, whoever they may be.
Can.
Alright, so we just continue the reading. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 32. Wayaba'a Pa'ayasha Pa'a Yesha Pabayaf Wayapafka Pa Lamagaliam Slakle Pa Gamaliam Wayathan Taban Wama Sapawa La Gamaliam Wamayam Larakataza Ragaliawa Waragalia Ha'ana Shayam Asher Atawa verse 33 Waya Yasham Lapania Yawa La'akab Waya Ama La'a Akal Aida Ama the Baryaf the Banya the Baya Waya Amma the Ba verse 34 Waya Amma Ibada Abraham Anakaya verse 35 Waya Hawa Baraka Atta Adanaya Ma'ada Waya Gadal Wayathan Lawa Ta'azan Taza'ana Wabanqa Wakasap Wazaba Wazahab Ma'aibada Washapaskan Wa Gamaliam Wa Kamariam verse 36 Watalada Shara Ashata Adaniya Ban La Adania Akaria Zakwana Wayathan Lawa Atta Kal Ashar Lawa verse 37 Wayashabaniya Adanaya Alama Al Fakwaka Ashaha Labania
Labania, Mabana Waf, Kakanaya, Haka, Nainaya, Asha, Anakaya, Yasha'ai, Yashaba, Ba'aratazawa, verse 38, Amma, Al, La'a, Al, Bayah, Abaya, Talaka, wa Allah, Mashapankaya, Mashapa, Kafia, Walapathia, Asha, Labania. Alright, so we're taking from verse 32 to 38.
Genesis chapter 24, verse 38, verse 32. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camel, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. Verse 33. And there was set meat before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told my errand. And he said, Speak on. Verse 34. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. Verse 35. And the Lord had blessed my master greatly, and he is become great. And he had given him flocks, and herd, and silver, and gold, and men servants, and maid servants, and camels, and asses. Verse 36. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him had he given all that he had. Verse 37. And my master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whom the land I dwell. Verse 38. But thou shalt go unto my father's house, and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son.
Alright, so we see once more where, the band was basically brought back home, and they were more or less prepare everything, not just for the camels, for the men, and they more or less started prepare things for them to eat and make sure them fellas was well taken care of. But then we see again, the servant was about Abraham's business, and he wants to make sure that he established what he actually came to do before he go and do anything else. Have you ever add anything?
You go there.
Alright. Yeah, so you see where he really wanted to do that, and with that, he gave the account of why he came. You understand? And he let them know who he was, where he come from, and basically gave a backdrop of who he was, for everybody to understand, the lineage, and to know that, hey, I come back. And verse 37 says, And my master made me swear, saying, that thou not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. See, we emphasize that, hey, the master say his son not supposed to marry any heathen, But he say, but thou go into my father's house and to my kindred and take a wife unto my son. So he really came to fulfill that, and the Most High gave him, mercy in being able to find, his brother. They probably haven't seen each other for so much years since Abraham left. To really just come back and fall right back to his kindred and to his people. Right? And that is just, part of the story. Next week, or next Sabbath class, we'll be able to go through it again. Please be Most High.
and we get more deep insight into what took place after that. And with that, we say Imadium. Yeah, wow. Sir? To the front. Via Charlotte.
Via Charlotte.
To Israel.
To Israel.
Right? Upon your upper down, when you rise and face the east, we're going to continue to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Sir?
Abanawa.
Shabbat
Shemayim.
Kwadash.
Haya. Shamka.
Yahweh.
Malakwatka.
Taba'a. Ratazaka. Haya. Aisha. Barataza. Kawa. Haya. Bashamayim. Nathan Nawa. Lakam. Kal. Yawam. Wasalak Kawawat Nawa. Kasalak Nawa. Kawawat Nawa. Wala'a. Tabaya Nawa. Banasayawan. Abal. Kawashai Nawa. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwat. Wa'ala. Wataparat. Wa'aiwalamyam. Aman. What we just said in the English is our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. When I say the Hakak or the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Bawakisha, Nathan Lanawa, Hakak, Rapa, Kal Makala, Wakal Madawa, Hakak, Lata, Atamazarium, Hakak, Hakwayam, Hamatayam, Hakak, Ay Rakawat, Atamayala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tawada Aman. We just said in the English, it's Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. Power to cleanse the leper. Power to raise the dead. Power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. Want to say the blessed Israel in the Hebrew? Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barak Lanawa, Wayashala, Wabayat, Separium, Barak, Rapa, Magan, Hagan, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tawada Aman. What you say in English is Lord, in the name of Yahushai. Bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. This is Psalm 121 in the Hebrew.
Asha, Ayania, Harayam, Mahayan, Yabaa, Izaria, Maayam, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa Arataza, Al Yatan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, sorry, Slakia, Yashan, Shamawar, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayad, Yamyanka, Wamam, Ashamash, La, Yakalka, Wayarak, Bayala'a, Yahweh, Washamarka, Makarai, Yashamar, At Napaska, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaka, Waaka, Maaita, Waid, Aiwalam.
We just said in the English, I will lift up my eyes. Unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. I will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is the keeper. The Lord is the shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. Even forevermore.
When it says Psalm 83 in the Hebrew, Alahayam, Al Damayalaka, Al Takarash, Wa Al Tashakwat, Al Kayahana, Al Wayabaka, Yahama Yawan, Rash, Al Aimaka, Yai Rayamwa, Sawada, Wayata, Yai Tazawa, Al Tazapa Wanka, Amarwa, Yashala, Aiwada, Kaya, Nawa Aitazawa, Laba, Yakadawa, Ail Yaka, Baria, Yaka Ratawa, Ahalia, Salakia, Ahalia,
Adawam, wa Yashamai Allah, Salakia, wa Yashama Ayalam, Mawa wa Hagarium, Gabal, wa Aimawan, wa Aimalak, Palashatayum, Palashet, Yashabia, Kazawo, Gam Aishawo, Nalawa, Aimam, Ha Yawa, Zarawai, Laban Yalakwat, Salah, Aisha Laham, Ka Madayan, Kasayan, Kasaya, Sarah, Ka Yabian, Banakal, Kwayashwan, Nasha Madwa, Baai Yan the area, Hayawa, Daman, Dama, Sha Ya Tama, Nada Yab Wama, Nada Yab Mawa, Ta'airab, Aishara, Amarwa, Na Ya Rasha, Lanawa, At, Na Awat, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shaya Tamwa, Kagalaka, Kakwash, Lapanya Rawaka, Kaash, Tabaira, Yaira, Wa Lahaba, Salakia, Wa Kalahaba, Talahat, Harayam, Kan, Radakma, Ba Sha'airaka, Wa Basa, Wa Pataka, Taba Alam, Ma La, Pan Yaham, Palawan, Waya Ba Kwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Waba Shawa, Waya Ba Hawa, Ayaid, Waya Kapawa, Waya Badwa, Waya Da Aiwa, Kaya Atha, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Ayawan, Al Kahal Arataza.
We just said in English, is keep not thou silent. O God, hold not thy peace. And be not still. O God, for lo, thy enemies make it to mock. And they that hear thee lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people,
And consulted. Against thy hidden ones.
against thy hidden one.
They have said. Come, let us.
Come, let us
Cut them off from being a nation.
cut them off from being a nation,
That the name of Israel.
that the name of Israel
May be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together.
For they have consulted together
With one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee,
The tabernacles of Edom.
the tabernacles of Edom,
And the Ishmaelites.
and the Ishmaelites,
Of Moab.
of Moab,
And the Hagarenes.
and the Hagarenes,
Gebal.
Gebal,
And Ammon.
and Ammon,
And Amalek.
and Amalek,
And the Philistines.
and the Philistines,
With the inhabitants of
of Tyre,
Ashur.
Ashur,
Also join with them.
to also join with them.
They have called upon the children of Lot.
They have called upon the children of Lot,
Salah.
Salah,
Do unto them
do unto them
as unto the Midianites.
as unto the Midianites,
As to Sisera.
as to Sisera,
As to Jabin.
as to Jabin,
At the brook of Kison.
and the brook of Kison,
Which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth,
Make their nobles.
make their nobles
Like Oreb.
like Oreb,
And like Zebeh.
and like Zebeh,
Yea.
yea,
All their princes.
all their princes,
As Zebah.
as Zebah,
And as Zaluna.
and as Luna,
Who said.
who said,
Let us take to ourselves.
let us take to ourselves
The houses of God in possession.
the houses of God in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God,
Make them like a wheel.
make them like a wheel,
And stubble before the wind.
and as they stumble before the wind,
As the fire burneth in wood.
as the fire burneth the wood,
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute
With
them
thy tempest.
with thy tempest,
And make them afraid with thy storm.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame,
That they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name.
O Lord.
O Lord,
Let them be confounded.
let them be confounded
And troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea.
Yea,
Let them be put to shame.
let them be put to shame,
And
perish,
that men may know.
that men may know
That thou.
that thou,
Whose name alone is Yahweh.
whose name alone is Yahweh,
The Most High.
the Most High,
Over all the earth.
over all the earth.
You will see the Isupk cursings. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth,
And all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
In the name of Yahweh.
in the name of Yahweh,
Listen to us now.
listen to us now,
Right now.
right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
and punishment and destruction
To the heathen.
to the heathen
That speak against
that
us.
speak against us,
Thy prophets.
thy prophets,
The teachers.
the teachers,
The princes.
the princes,
The priests.
the priests,
The Israelite brothers.
Israelite brothers,
And the school.
and the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
and punishment and
To the
destruction
heathen.
to the heathen,
Shake loose.
and shake loose
To give to the school.
the truth to give to the
Force their riches.
force their riches,
Enter into thy sanctuary.
enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses,
And punishment and destruction.
punishment and
To
destruction
the Edomites.
to the Edomites,
And the nation.
and the nation,
And their drug dealers.
and their drug dealers,
And the court system.
and court
The
system,
prison system.
prison system,
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood,
All governments of our enemies.
all governments of our
Amalek
enemies,
synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church,
The Pope.
Pope,
Islam.
Islam,
Christianity.
Christianity,
Egyptology.
Egyptology,
Militia.
militia,
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads.
skinheads,
Foziko Matazi.
Foziko Matazi,
The gay movement.
gay movement,
The lesbian movement.
lesbian movement,
Spies.
spies,
Workers of witchcraft.
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space program.
NASA space program,
Army.
Navy,
Navy. Air Force.
Air Force,
Marines. Wall Street.
Wall Street,
Open up the internet.
open up the internet,
And the airwaves.
and the airwaves,
The cable access
the
channels.
cable access channels,
And the radio channels.
and the radio channels,
Convict the spirit.
convict the spirits
Of any of thy people.
of any of thy people
That seek to stop
that
us.
seek to stop
And
us,
bring swift destruction.
and bring swift destruction
To all the heathen.
to all the heathen
That stand in the way.
that stand in the way,
Or try to stop us.
or try to stop us
From broadcasting your words.
from broadcasting your words
Throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the players.
Let use all the plagues,
Cause them to go to and fro.
cause them to go to and fro
The earth.
to the earth,
And consume them.
to consume them.
Let the plague shake.
Let the plague shake
The house of the thief.
the house of the thief,
And the murderer.
and the murderer.
Let Yahweh shine.
Let Yahweh shine.
Michael.
Michael,
Gabriel.
Gabriel,
Come down with the flying saucer.
come down with the flying saucer,
And punish all the heathen.
and punish all the heathen
That come up against
that
us.
come against us,
As we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all.
Cause it to be known by all,
That is the angels that have done
that
it.
it is the angels that have done
Cause it to be spread through the media.
it. Cause it to be spread through the
Throughout
media,
the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause them to shake at thy
In
coming.
the name of Yahweh Shai.
Name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always.
Always.
So be it.
So be it.
Sir?
men of Israel. Let's give the brothers a courtesy salute. I Majum Shabbat, I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai Barakatah. Let's give sisters online a courtesy salute. I Majum Shabbat, I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai. Yadi Matah, class dismissed.